Hello, everyone. A very happy 2026. I am Vidhi Mody, founder of Pinnacle Advisors. And 2026 has started on a fresh note. Today, we have the most amazing Lauren Thiel with us today. Lauren Thiel is an artist and a chartered accountant. She's also the founder of Real Thiel. So, welcome, Lauren. How are you doing?
Thank you.
How has 2026 been treating you so far?
So far, so good. Yeah, very grateful for a fresh start to the year. It's always a bit of a crazy time socially towards the end of December. Work-wise, it's fine because everyone is preoccupied with their own things and they're not harassing us for tax returns or
I'm sure.
really answering our emails. But as we go into the start of the year, I really like to do some of the work on the business things, some more strategic stuff, to get in there and review all of our tech and our processes and our systems, see what's changed, make improvements. So I really like that kind of work. And I've spent like a good couple of weeks just going through all of that and making improvements. So it makes it feel exciting for the year ahead to go like, okay, we're ready, let's go.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's great. Yeah, so Lauren, I'm sure you must be aware, my team and your team, we all have been working together to make this happen, and finally we are making it happen. So starting on with a new kind of a very fun kind of a session, conversations that count with myself. The idea of us getting today is talking about one of the most happening event of 2025, which I believe you will agree to the same, is Xerocon.
Yes.
And I just thought, that we can start 2026 with some reflections as to how Xerocon was, what made you be part of it. So just want to hear everything from your end. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will be honest, like Xerocon's been running for a long time. I've been running my business since 2018 properly. And originally, I didn't spend a lot of time or money or energy investing into attending any of the industry type of events. A lot of that was just, I was trying to do something different with my firm. So I didn't see there to be much point in it. And also, there's some cost limitations and things when you're a tiny, tiny baby business. But a couple of years ago, my brother, who is also in the scene, he's more on the tech side of things, he went and he's like, what are you doing not going to Xerocon? This is a huge event. You love events. You are such an extrovert. You love people. You love a party, in particular a dress-up party. Why are you not going to this, And so I thought I'd give it a go. I was in a position now to afford the time away from the desk, to afford the ticket, all of that. And I'm so grateful that I have done that now, and now a couple of times, because where I won't say I regret my prior decisions, I do think there were some opportunities missed. And what I had really underestimated is how everybody is really in the room together.
Yeah.
It is an opportunity to pick the brains and share ideas with the actual people who, are the founders of the tech that we use every day, or the developers sometimes. It's also a chance. I really also underestimated how generous other accountants would be with each other in sharing their advice, their experiences. I think I felt a bit like an imposter, like I didn't want to go and then not know an answer, or, thought I had to have it all figured out before I went. And it's just not true. There's a lot of us there who, all of us, we have something to learn. And I think you can go to that event with lots of different intentions and you will come out with value. And so now I really recognize that it is a valuable part of my calendar. It's a great opportunity to step away from the tools, trust my team to handle, whatever the clients are needing during that time, and to spend some time working on the business, developing myself as a leader in that business, and making improvements into the way that we do things.
No, absolutely. I get that, Lauren. For me as well, when I decided that I want to travel to Australia for Xerocon all the way, coming from Bombay, Mumbai to Brisbane, it was a lot of investment, right? It's time investment,
Even more.
it's money, and then it's this huge, event that you end up meeting so many people and then kind of figuring what's your purpose of attending the event. But I'm really glad, you ended up coming the event and I ended up meeting you. And today we are here recording the session. So yay.
Exactly. You never know what's going to come out of
Yeah.
Xerocon. I didn't go in going, I really want to connect
Yeah.
with this particular person and I want to be on a podcast or a recording with them. But you have to be open to these kinds of opportunities. And you were really, I think there's an element of bravery and coming up to me and introducing yourself. And that's what you have to do at those kind of events, is go, oh, that person's really interesting, or I feel like we connect on this, or I have a question for them, and just go and ask. Just don't be afraid.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. I think one of the best conversations that happen are not something that's planned. I guess our conversation after one of the session that you were part of, and I guess I just came to you and I was like, hey, Lauren, I really liked what you spoke about bravely, which not many people talk about out loud. So kudos to you. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Lauren, a few of the topics that kind of actually gave me more of a better idea of what Xerocon is all about. I feel when anyone will ask me, Vidhi, how was your experience? How do you think Xerocon has helped you? Right? I think for me, something that really stayed with me are the connections. Right? And when I say connections, I just don't mean, those business cards kind of connection wherein, hey, Lauren, that's my card. And, I think more of those impromptu conversations like the one that we had, right? So just to get more on it, Lauren, if you can give me a little bit of an idea as to, did you have something like that in your mind when you came to Xerocon, that, hey, I would end up meeting new people and form genuine connections, not just business connections? Or were you like, just like, hey, let's see how it goes? And what has been your actual feedback now that, we've completed Xerocon and it's already 2 to 3 months? And I'm sure you would have found many people out there across different social media handles. So what has been your take on it?
I think I was skeptical, in particular the first year that I went, because to an extent, other Australian accounting firms are kind of competition. Like there was a naive element for me in going, I don't want to share too much and I don't want to embarrass myself by asking them something, and I think what I found instead is the accountants themselves are a community, and they're very welcoming and they're very inclusive and understanding and generous with sharing information and opportunities. The fact I was even on the stage is an example of that, because at a prior industry event like Xerocon, might have even been Xerocon, I connected with someone who then added me to a big WhatsApp chat with other women in accounting, and then through that shared my own thing of like, oh gosh, as a performer and an artist, I wish I was on the stage. And somebody else in the thing is like, you can be, get up there. Like, I'll make the opportunity. I was like, oh, we can just do that. Okay, great. So I was so grateful for that community to really see me, to back me in that, to create a platform and celebrate in that together. And so nice to meet all of those other people. But yeah, I think I've found it's not competitive in that sense. It's not isolated, or it doesn't have to be. I think I was sort of isolating myself instead. And I definitely would encourage, any solo entrepreneurs, business owners, accounting firms, whatever, even those with small teams, like it can be really lonely when you're the person who's running the show. And I think it's a great opportunity to get to meet other people who are doing that, because we have unique challenges and unique opportunities. So being able to share that with each other is important, and also to let off a bit of steam. So it is great because there are so many opportunities both at Xerocon to connect, and you're running into different people at the sessions that they run, or the fun little, barber shop that they have in the middle randomly of an accounting conference, or the party that Xero organizes themselves, or the other little side quest events that other industry folk organize. There's so many opportunities there as well to have the one-on-one chats or to introduce yourself to people. And because it is, across a couple of days, you meet someone on day one just in line to have a coffee. Then you see them again on day two sitting, 2 rows behind you, learning about a new software. And then you see them at the party that night. And then you see them the next day, they're watching your session or you're watching theirs. And you slowly piece together the puzzle, like, oh, that's where they fit and they know what I am. And if you're telling them who you are, what you're about, what you're looking for, they start to keep an eye out for that as well. And then you get the message like, oh my gosh, Lauren, I just saw a thing on this. I think that tech would really help you. I use this for this client. I think you could do that. And so we're all just helping each other, which is beautiful.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I get it. And I think, Lauren, something that a lot of people think in our industry that it's all about numbers. I really want to come out and tell people through, this podcast that, trust me, accountants don't just worry, or we just don't work with numbers. We really value that human touch. We really love the fact that when the community comes together, we all, especially the small businesses, can understand how can we support each other truly, and not have the, I would say, like a competitive mindset, but have more of a collaborative mindset here.
Yes.
So yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Do you have I would say, a memory of a connection which has stayed with you? Just a small, maybe like a random hello to someone sitting next to you, like having lunch or something like
The
that.
connection with you.
Oh my God, thank you.
That's definitely one of my standout connections from this recent Xerocon. I was coming off stage. We've just done a group panel about imposter syndrome and some other topics in the accounting space. And you came up to me and sort of said, yeah, like how it resonated. And I'm like on adrenaline high. And I was so flattered to know, because I think when you get up on stage, you're feeling very vulnerable. You're sharing a little bit about you, especially when you're talking about imposter syndrome, because you're going like, hey, I don't actually know all of the answers. And we're meant to, right? We get paid to have the answers, to give the advice, all this stuff. So it feels particularly hard. And to have someone come up and say like, hey, that was really important for me to hear. Yeah. That meant a lot to me. And also because we have overlap with, like working with global teams, all of that as well. So that was really nice. I think this year in particular was more solidifying and strengthening relationships that were just seeds planted last time. Yeah. So it's sort of like that journey from being internet connections, on LinkedIn, to seeing a friendly face at Xerocon and being able to actually speak face to face, into then, the second time or third time that you see those people, you're like, oh, how did you find that? You've got more things to talk about. How did you go with this development you were talking about? Or, where are you at in your journey? And I think that's been my experience for this year, at least.
Oh, that's interesting to know. Yeah. I mean, it's just so good that, when there's a panel discussion, filled with, women, especially, small businesses, and they come up and they share their real story, and just not about numbers, in terms of understanding how human we are in our day-to-day life, and, managing priorities at mothers, sisters, being a wife and taking care of the house, and still coming together and celebrating your work,
I think, yes, we love and get numbers and like, oh, show me a spreadsheet formula. I am excited. But I also really like my dog. I love my partner. I love traveling. I'm an artist. I've got like other things to talk about. I'm a human being. I also have challenges. And I think one thing, hence why we're called the Real Thiel, not just because it's a cute pun, but because I wanted in my firm to be very real. If I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot come to the firm right now. I've got the worst cramps. Like, this is not, I can't function. I'm in the fetal position on the floor. Sorry. Like, I'm going to be real about that. I'm not going to be like, Lauren is preoccupied in another meeting. Like, I'm just going to be me, because I think when you create an authenticity and share it, then it creates safety for your client or for whoever else you're dealing with to do the same. And especially in the communities that I work with, there is a lot of neurodivergence, there's a lot of mental illness, and those things in particular, for a long time have been very shamed, and I don't think that they should be. So by sharing, if you're like, actually, today's just a really hard day, or I'm grieving, or I'm having a brilliant day, like, let's pop off. Whatever the journey is, I think if you share that, then someone else has the freedom to share it too.
Yeah.
Like when, people say, oh, how are you? Yeah, good. Like, are you? You're not building connection. Whereas the connection will come with sharing. And that takes a little bit of vulnerability at first. But if someone does it, the other people are safer, they do it, and then it strengthens.
Absolutely. And I think all of us deep within are looking out for that connection, right? Especially even in workplace, because we end up spending time with, our stakeholders, whether, that's working with our team, working, with our clients and being major part of that day or, a week, So absolutely, now, Lauren, just touching base on the aspect of connection that we spoke about, right? I really want to discuss two important topics, not, I wouldn't say topics, but two important areas, which I think Xerocon opened doors for. So the one was the fact that innovation was highlighted. How Xero is having more and more of AI in its operations, and how we as accountants can actually focus more on the advisory bit of it. And then we talk about advisory, it's like the new opportunity out there that we're talking about it. So what are your thoughts, Lauren? If you want to just throw some ideas to seeing accountancy industry evolve over a period of time, now with Zero and AI coming in. What are your key takeaways from your experience based on what the past was about, what 2026 can hold, and what do you think the future is in these two important areas? One is innovation, and then the other one is an opportunity, which is advisory.
I think advisory has always been there. It's just not necessarily been financially accessible to probably the people who need it, which is, most businesses need it. But I find I deal with a lot of micro and small businesses, and the catch is for them to get the help that they need. That is usually our time, right? And that usually comes with a price. So it's like if we know what we're doing because we studied business, because we're doing business. We're basically practicing the thing that we went and learned. But if you're a really good hairdresser, you love cutting and coloring, and like you might have done 10 weeks at TAFE on how to run a business, but that is not enough for you to really go out with confidence and know what a profit and loss is, and to know how to do any bookkeeping, or to make a decision. Should I buy that inventory? At what point should I buy it? Oh no, the pink's run out. I should get some more. That's going to be 2 weeks. What do I do with those clients? They don't necessarily learn everything they need to run a business. So advisory is so important. I think what we're getting with AI for the client is actually more accessible advice. Whether it is accurate or not is debatable. Whether it is worth the environmental cost at this point. And I know there's some ethical things around what gets shared as well, with different AI functions. I think there is a lot of work to be done in that space, and there is a lot of opportunity, but I think we're naive if we think, any of that's going to replace us immediately. I think what I would love in this space is I would love us one day to just be able to automate tax. Like, get rid of tax. It's so boring and annoying, as I say, as a tax agent. But like, for me, I'm like, I get it. We've got to do it. It is definitely our bread and butter, even in our firm, but it's not fun. It's not sexy. It's not interesting. It's not helping your business to like grow and change and you achieve your dreams. It's helping you be compliant and, being paying member of society and all of those sorts of things, which is important. I would love to see more AI put there so that we never have to do that again. And then let me come into your business and help you shine and help you learn how to run it better, how to make better decisions, to reflect on what has been, what could have gone better, what do we need to start, stop, keep doing, basically. So I think there's that side with AI. I think let's stop pointing it towards, being everybody's therapist and advisor, and maybe let's point it towards the streamline bookkeeping. Let's change a bunch of stuff so that tax just happens and saving for tax happens, because that's a massive hindrance with the small and micro businesses. Big business have CFOs who can be like, we should provision for this. Tiny businesses, it hits their bank, they feel like it's theirs, and so then boom, we send them a bill and all their money's gone. So work needs to be done there, in my opinion. But I think the other area that accountants should be focused on is further developing their soft skills. And I know we've been talking about that for 15 years, but the connection, because a lot of what we do requires our client and our team to trust us.
Yeah.
I think we have to also read between the lines. We have to connect the dots of like this, it's not just money. It's not just capitalism. It's like in my business, I need my business to work because I have a mortgage that I would need to maintain. I've got a team and I'm responsible for their wages. And like, that's a lot of pressure because I want to work 3 days a week, not 2 days a week or whatever. So there's all these personal goals and our clients have those as well. But if we're just looking at the numbers, I don't think we're being real with each other about what it is we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So the more that we can understand how different people work, how we can be flexible to that as well. So it's not just like, well, you're talking to an accountant, so you have to be like this.
Yeah.
Like, but you're not. So let's just both people will be real, understand the human element that is behind the numbers.
Yeah.
Would be better.
Absolutely, Lauren. I think I'll give you an example that very early on when I started my journey in Sydney as an accountant, and I was really uptight, and I was like, I have to give a very professional feel to my clients and be very professional. But at the end, when you actually kind of work with the client for a long time, it's all about understanding, is the client comfortable working with you? And comfort comes when there is connection, right? And when that person understands that, what, I can really rely on Vidhi because she does a good job. But more than that, she's an amazing person, who understands our business better,
Yeah, we have to maintain our professionalism, our ethics, confidentiality. There are some really key things for our industry for sure. And when you are in a trusted role, right? Like doctors, the same sort of deal.
Yeah.
But I do think it's like a doctor where you go, well, the ones with good bedside manner, they're the ones you want to go to. You assume they can all do the job, right? Like, don't be a doctor if you don't know what you're doing. Same thing. Don't go to any old person who thinks they can build a spreadsheet once. Like, go to an actual accountant for accounting services. But then find an accountant who is a good match for you, who you connect with, who you trust on more than just their skill set, in my opinion.
Right. So Lauren, in case if you want to give an example just to understand better, so say for example, if someone is watching our podcast today and is not from the accounting industry, so speak about innovation, and when we speak about advisory, right? If you can give an example in your day-to-day life wherein you think that maybe AI can help me with this, but still I need to work on the other Y factor, which is say advisory. If you can give me like a small example, something that you can, maybe in easy plain English, we can talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. One that comes to mind is that AI that is essentially built into Xero, which our clients would use. So whether it is the suggested matches or suggested coding of transactions, AI is there understanding that client and all client data and going, we think it's this. Advisory comes in to be like, it's not always right. The client can't just go, yep, done. My job is done. I'm like, did you look at it? Did you read it? Did you understand it? What else is it telling you? So I think similarly, if you were to just, which we wouldn't, but if you were to just like grab a client's email and just shove it into ChatGPT, it's probably going to come up with a very well-framed, grammatically correct email. But does it have all of the background information about, maybe if you fed it that, which I wouldn't, but you know, all of the client ins and outs? Does it understand that they're an artist? Does it understand that they, you know, need it to be framed in a particular way? Do, you know, they get super, super overwhelmed? And yeah, I don't know. I still think there's I'm just imagining some accountants listening to this now being like, no, AI is the future and it can do everything. And all of our emails should be written by AI. Maybe I'm old school here, but I do think there is still value in that. I think it should be a tool that we use, not the end.
Yeah. No, I get it. Because I have these clients and they're like, hey, you know what? I can just ask ChatGPT whatever I want to. And I said
Yeah.
that ChatGPT would only know what you let the ChatGPT know. We would know everything based on, the experience that we worked with you, the knowledge and the skill set that we as accountants bring on table. So I absolutely agree with the fact that, AI can really help us simplify our work,
Yeah.
simplify our life, but it's still you as the human brain who would be taking the key decisions and
It's also
navigating the path.
experience.
Yeah.
It's experience for me. So you could go on paper, like if you use the example of, should I keep this business going or close this business? If you just shoved the P&L and, ask the question to AI, who knows what it's going to say, right? But if you go to an accountant who has run 6 businesses in the past, has exposure to 600 other clients, who's been through mergers and acquisitions, who has known your business for 5 years, who knows that, you're pregnant or your partner is pregnant or you've got 6 kids or, whatever, you're trying to move to London, there's so many variables that go into something like that. I do believe that if people were better educated in how to actually use AI, it might be more beneficial. But it's like we've been handed this software in a lot of ways, not just ChatGPT, but we've been handed this software with no instruction, and it doesn't have any instruction either. Like, it's kind of like, go. And of course, if you were to frame your question in the right way, feed it all the right information, it probably would come up with a similar result to us. But we're not using it properly yet, I don't think.
So Lauren, before we end the session for today, I guess the conversations have been extremely fun and interesting, and just I would say the more of the connection side of it, which I really felt was the key part of our session today. But before we go, Lauren, just a little bit of, I would say, quick question answer, like a rapid fire thing. We can just a little bit more fun before we end the session, right?
Sure.
So Lauren, as per you, what are the 3 important things that you think accountants should prepare themselves for, especially in 2026?
Neurodiversity.
Okay.
I think, quick fire. Okay. Neurodiversity. I think we need to be way better educated and across how to ethically use AI and beyond ChatGPT. And authenticity, how we be real with each other whilst maintaining that professionalism.
Okay. And what do you think accountants should not be doing in 2026?
No, we should keep doing that as long as we have to. But one day I can dream, right? Yeah. What should we not be doing?
Yeah.
I think almost like the opposite answer, but I think we need to be more proactive. I often inherit clients who go, oh, my accountant never gave me any advice. They never reached out. They didn't do whatever. Yeah. And I'm always like, well, did you pay them to do that? Did you ask them? Was that part of the scope of your agreement? Yeah. And so I think a lot of the time, probably the client's just not read the agreement. I'm not blaming the accountants, but I do think there is opportunity left on the table. I think clients are starving for help, for guidance, for advice, whatever that looks like. And I think we need to figure out a way that we make that more price accessible for the small businesses. but that we really offer that and push that, because I think that is what they are needing help with. As tech develops, they're not needing us to do accounting so much, but I think we need to, or like bookkeeping, accounting. But I think we need to really help them to make better decisions in their businesses, particularly in tough economic times, because they need to move quickly. Cash flow is difficult. Things can change in a heartbeat, and I think they need to have a trusted guide.
Right. No, that was really nice, Lauren. Again, I guess the session has been really amazing. A lovely way to start 2026 on a positive note. I cannot wait to meet you, Lauren, again for the upcoming Xerocon events. That's going to take place in 2026 and future years. So once
Yeah.
again, Lauren, thank you very much for being our guest on Conversations That Count on our first episode. And I cannot wait to wish you a very good health, luck, and hopefully more and more accountants can benefit from our podcast for today.
And right back at you. Thank you so much. Congratulations on this first session, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you.